Hi guys, and welcome to the video. In today's video, we're going over 5 ways you can improve your shooting, so if that's something you're interested in, stick around. Okay guys, so some of these might seem a bit simplistic or they might be things that you've heard before, but that's absolutely fine because the point of these things I'm going to be telling you are that these are things you need to keep in mind when you're going to practice your shooting or you're in games shooting. See, the problem for most players isn't that they don't know how to shoot, that they don't know the mechanics behind shooting or anything like that. It's that in the moments when they need to call upon that information, they forget. So these 5 things I'm going to tell you, you want to keep these things in mind every time you go to take a shot. And the first one is technique over power, and this is probably one of the most important or most crucial things to keep in mind when you go to practice your shooting or when you're shooting in matches, because most players' first instinct or tendency is to try and hit the ball as hard as they can or to swing as hard as they can at the ball. And this comes from a mixture of nervousness or lack of experience. But when it comes down to your shooting, especially when you're going to use the laces or the top of your foot to shoot, you really should be focusing on your technique, not trying to hit the crap out of the ball. The ball isn't that heavy. If you swing at a mild speed while using technique, you will get the power that you need. But if you swing as hard as you can, you're going to hit the ball wrong, which is going to cause it to bobble or probably go somewhere that you don't want it to go. So always keep in mind that technique should always be focused upon over power. And the thing is, as you get better at this, as you get better at doing the technique, you can then start to swing a little harder, and harder if you want. But to this day, I still don't swing as hard as I can, or I rarely do when I'm taking a shot. I focus on all of the right techniques that I need to be doing. I focus on locking my ankle, leaning over the ball, making sure my body position is right, making sure my follow through is good. If you want to learn how to do all of that stuff, I will leave a video in the description, actually a few videos that you can look at that will complement this video well. And in those videos, we'll go over what you need to be doing to perform proper technique or to do proper technique. We'll go over what your foot should look like and all of that. Okay, so that was number 1. That's one to keep in mind when you go to shoot. Think technique over power. Technique over power. So next time you think you're going to swing really hard, don't do that. Focus on technique. Number 2 is confidence. Now this is another very important one that I feel not a lot of players do, because when I ask them, they say, yeah, my shooting's, okay, or my shooting's not great, or they thought there was no way I was going to score that chance. Whenever you shoot, I don't care if you're shooting from 5 yards away or 40 yards away, the only thought that should be in your head is, I'm going to score. Because if you doubt yourself as you're going up to take the chance or you're going up to shoot, if you have even a little bit of doubt, you're going to lose your concentration and you're going to make it way more likely that you're going to miss. So instead of thinking, I'm going to miss this, or getting nervous, think loudly in your head, I'm going to score. I'm going to score. Repeat it to yourself if you need to. Do whatever you need to do to get that thought, solidified in your head, or get that thought embedded into your head so that every time you go to shoot, you truly feel and believe that you're going to score. This one tactic alone, guys, can change the way you shoot. It can change the amount of goals you scored. When I started employing this method, I started scoring multiple goals in matches when I was playing in indoor. I started scoring close to a goal a game in outdoor. It's that important to really believe in that you're going to score every single time that you get an opportunity. And again, if you don't believe you will, it's more of a chance you'll miss, even the easy chances. Okay, moving right along, something that kind of ties in to the last one is when you go to finish, this is more of a finishing tip, is place the ball. Now, a lot of players, again, when they get into a goal-scoring opportunity where they really don't need to hit it hard, they just, because they're nervous, whack the ball as hard as they can. Or even if they don't whack the ball as hard as they can and they use proper technique, they use their laces and hit it way too hard, where they should just be trying to place the ball into the corner. I scored way more goals by just curling it into a corner or passing it, literally passing the ball into the corner, than I have putting my foot through it. So when you find yourself one-on-one or in a goal-scoring opportunity inside the 18-yard box, don't think about blasting it. Think placement. Think, how can I just pass this into the back of the net? Because you'll be way more accurate with that. If you think of a teammate who's 10 yards away, do you feel confident being able to pass the ball to them accurately? You probably do. But if I told you, okay, I want you to hit the ball as hard as you can at your teammate 10 yards away, and I want you to hit him right on the knee or something, that's probably not going to be something you can do the first time. It's probably going to take a few times. But if I ask you to pass it to his foot or her foot 10 times out of 10, you'll probably get it most times. The point is, you have much more of a chance of scoring, one, if you put it on target and you put it away from the keeper, and simply by passing it towards the corners, aiming for the corners, or just aiming for a part of the net where the keeper isn't, by just passing it solidly to that place, you have a much better chance of scoring. Now, of course, this doesn't count for shots that you're going to be taking 25 to 30 yards away, but when you think about it, a goal-scoring opportunity, like a true goal-scoring opportunity, is usually within the 18-yard box. So when you find yourself in those situations, don't look to blast it, look to place it into one of the corners. And yes, this is a very simple tip, but trust me, this can change, again, how many goals you score if you just learn how to finish. Learn how to place it either side of the keeper. You can get into more advanced finishes later, like chipping, rounding the keeper, and things like that, and I actually have a video on stuff like that. But for now, see how many goals you can score by just passing it to one side of the keeper. You'll be surprised how many goals you can score just with this simple method. So when you get in front of goal and you have that opportunity in the 18-yard box, you need to relax, don't get nervous, think to yourself, I'm going to score, have that confidence, and then just pass it into the net. Okay, so number 4 is two of the areas or two components that's a part of proper shooting technique that I see players screwing up the most. The first is many players fail to lock their ankle, or they can't yet, and another one is they fail to lean over the ball. Now, fixing these two minor things, two small details, can really improve your shooting, especially when it comes to your laces shots. Not locking your ankle causes you to have what we call a floppy ankle, which is not solid, and it's really hard to get sweet connection on the ball if you don't have a locked ankle. It means you're going to get unnecessary spin, usually backspin that you don't want. And not leaning over the ball means you're probably leaning backwards, and if you're leaning back, it's more likely you'll get under the ball, which causes it to go up. If you combine a floppy ankle with leaning back, well, you're not going to score too many of those. You'll be lucky to put those on target. So two of the things to think about fixing first is, are you locking your ankle all the way through? Not just at the beginning. As you make contact with the ball, your ankle needs to stay locked. And are you leaning over the ball, or at least are you upright to leaning over? Okay, if you're not doing those two things, that's probably one of the main problems to why your shots are not that effective. So keep in mind, as a quick fix, to lock your ankle and to lean over the ball. Now, if you have trouble locking your ankle, a simple thing you can do is just start flexing your foot throughout the day. So when you're in class, when you're sitting down, just practice locking your ankle throughout the day. Then when you get a chance to go shooting, practice it as well. And remember, you don't need to hit the ball hard, so practice some slow swings while locking your ankle. Again, I have videos in the description that go over the full technique that you need to be doing if you want to be shooting well from distance with your laces and things like that. So check that out if you want to see the full technique, but this is a very quick fix. If you're not shooting well, make sure that you're locking your ankle and make sure you're leaning over the ball. Okay, and this last one, again, is a very simple one, but again, it's just something I don't see players doing enough, and it's shoot often. Now, I'm not just talking about matches, but I don't actually see many players practicing their shooting, like, consciously. I see many players that go to the net and just shoot randomly on the net. They'll go with a friend or something who plays goalkeeper, or before practice, they'll take a few shots, but it rarely seems like they're actually working on their technique. It just seems that they're mindlessly shooting at the net. If you really want to get better at shooting, one, shoot often in matches. Don't worry about teammates getting on your back. Now, don't be silly. Don't take 40-yard shots all game or something, and don't take shots when there's a teammate in a goal-scoring opportunity. But don't be afraid to shoot, because it seems like a lot of players from a young age get this tendency to be scared to actually shoot the ball. And it stays with them throughout their soccer career. I mean, I've played college ball with players who were extremely talented and who in practice could hit the living crap out of the ball and put it on target, yet would never take that shot in a game. And that's not a good habit to have. So you want to learn to start shooting often. And the thing that happens when you start shooting often is you get these reference points. You can look back at your shots and go, what did I do wrong, or what did I do right? You'll start to notice, oh, in that one, I locked my ankle, I leaned over the ball, I used proper technique, and it was a good shot. And in that one, I didn't use proper technique, I leaned back, and that's why I went over. You have more shots to analyze, which allows you to improve quicker. Now, when you're actually going to practice your shooting in practice, I recommend using a wall, because then you can just practice your technique over and over and over and get a lot of shots in a short amount of time. Now, you can also use a net, but this is problematic unless you have like 8, 9, 10 balls, because if you only have one, you got to shoot and chase it. Shoot and chase it. Even if you have 2 or 3, you got to shoot those 3 and then chase all of them. Shoot those 3 and chase all of them. If you miss and you don't have a net behind the goal, you got to go far to go chase them, right? So you don't want to be doing that. That's why using a wall to practice your shooting is absolutely fantastic, and I recommend it to all players who are trying to improve their shooting. Just get to a wall, practice locking your ankle and doing the proper technique that you can find in the video down below, and do that over and over and over again, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your shooting will improve if you just do this consistently. All right, guys, so that was 5 things that can help your shooting right now, right away. These are just things to keep in mind. Remember, you're still gonna have to go out and practice, like I mentioned in the last tip, in the 5th tip, but the other things you want to be keeping in mind when you're actually shooting. So that means being confident in your shots, making sure you're using proper technique, making sure you're doing technique over power. That's a huge one, guys. And of course, remembering to lock your ankle and lean over the ball, because those are the 2 main issues I see players having. There's actually 3 main issues. The first one is the one we went over first, which is most players try and whack the ball as hard as they can. You don't want to do that. The second is I see a lot of players leaning back. And then third, on closer inspection or examination, I see a lot of players are just not locking their ankle. Okay, so those are some quick fixes. Just keep those in mind when you're practicing your shooting. Keep those in mind when you're in a match and you're taking shots, when you're about to shoot. Just remember to yourself technique. Make sure you lock your ankle, make sure you lean over it and all that. Again, check out the video I left down below. It's going to show you exactly what the technique looks like. I have drawings of like where on your foot you should be hitting the ball, how to lock your ankle and all of that. So you'll want to check that out. Make sure you come back tomorrow for another training video, and subscribe if you're new to Simply Soccer. We're releasing videos every single day to help you become a better player. I'll also have 2 videos on the screen that you can check out as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like and a share as well, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video.